Why most of people are not rich. There are many reasons which lead people to not to be rich. Try to think over about yourself and find which factor that affects you, then start to make a change. These are some factors that hinder people to be rich. 1. Wrong or colluding beliefs. The first factor that can explain why most of people are not rich is the wrong beliefs about wealth and the colluding beliefs between negative and positive beliefs. The power of positive thinking for rich. 8. Basically, humans' brain always tries to find pleasure and avoid suffer. If something is related to hardship, we'll tend to avoid it. In the other way, if something has a strong relationship with pleasure, we'll get closer to it. If something is associated to pleasure and hardship, our brain will be confused or neutral. Beliefs is just like magnet. If positive belief is mixed up with the negative ones, there is no more positive polar or negative polar. Our minds will be neutral or confused as regular metal. When we are sure that being rich is positive while being poor is negative, the pole will be much clearer, thus we'll become a magnet. In fact, most of people never set his belief consciously from birth to death. If we do not establish our own conscious beliefs of the need to be rich, without realizing we will be carried away by words such as, money is the root of all evil deeds. At the results, unconsciously we don't want to be rich because we do not want to be evil. For example, James has a friend who is very wealthy and has a very large house and magnificent. Charles and Mary went to visit their friend James. As they arrive at James's house, Charles asked Mary, "Isn't the house nice?" Mary then replied, "I do not like big house, because it'll be difficult to clean it." Then Charles said, "If you got a big and magnificent house like this, it's impossible to clean it yourself." The above example shows that Mary has false belief. Each time she saw a great house she would be stressed as she thought it would be troublesome to clean. The power of positive thinking for rich. 9.2. Unclear objectives. The second reason why we are not rich is because we never set purpose or goal, or we continue to change our purpose, thus it has become unclear. It's important for us to set goals, since without purpose our movement will be entirely aimless. Example, when you get out of the house and then you stop a taxi. After that, the driver would ask, "Where are you going?" and you say, "Whatever." There are two possibilities that will happen. The first driver will take you around the city and then drive you back to your home. The second driver will bring you then take you to somewhere that you do not like. The same happens in life. If you do not specify exactly what the purpose of your life, then you will waste time, energy and money. You will have difficulty pursuing your goals. Furthermore, a lot of people unconsciously or consciously keep changing its target before the target is reached. 3. Considering the objective is impossible. It's really sad that only very few people who dare to set a life goal. Even worse, they are considering their life goal impossible. In establishing the purpose of our life, we should be very personal or private. We can't just follow what others do. It's okay if others thinking that our goals are impossible, but ourselves have to be sure of our own goal. Once you think that your goal is impossible, and then you will not do anything to pursue your goals. You will become more like lazy, indecisive, and not serious and do not have the spirit. The power of positive thinking for rich. 10. Thus, it is clear that the result would not be satisfactory. Humans tend to do something with his. So, when his beliefs say that the goal is impossible, then what he does will be weak and not good. 4. Do not feel compelled to when we set goals, but we feel that there is no strong urge to achieve it. Although we were able to achieve these objectives, we are not motivated to achieve it. It's caused by the absence of necessity. If we do not feel something as a necessity from within ourselves, small obstacles is enough to stop our efforts to achieve that goal. For example, although you have determined that the following year you want to buy a Jaguar car, but if you do not feel it as a must, then you won't ever buy the car. Even though you have lots of money to buy it, you still won't buy it. 5. Do not have a strategy that proved successful. Although we already have the right belief, the right purpose, and feel the need, but if the strategy is wrong, we still won't reach our goal. For example, photography has the goal to take photograph of the sunrise. Naturally, the sun will rise from the east direction, but the photographer keeps walking to the west. At any given time, he will not be able to photograph the sunrise. The power of positive thinking for rich 11.6. Not knowing the path of natural or easiest to achieve goals such as nuts and bolts that don't fit together will be useless. When the nut is too small, no matter how hard we try, the efforts seem futile. Indeed, we can try to push bolts that are too small into the nut, but it takes more effort and we often do not enjoy the process or even the results. 7. Don't have a realistic plan. Having a purpose without any realistic plan would be troublesome to execute the plan. Thus, we will have difficulty in achieving the goal. 8. Do not take action in accordance with the plan. Another mistake is that often the person is tempted to come out of the original plan. It is true that we need to change our plan if the plan proves to take us further from our original purpose. But in the other hand, if the plan is already established and actually led us the right way, we need to be consistent in doing our plan in order to pursue our defined purpose. 9. Not observing and measuring. The next mistake that leads people to not to be rich is that people often doesn't not keep track of the process, whether it is aiming to the purpose or not. Most of people taking action as the already planned, but most of the time they don't want to keep track or measure how far have they got. In business, we must measure and monitor our business progress once a month at the minimum. The power of positive thinking for rich 12.10. Putting the responsibility to others. When someone starts blaming other people, blaming economic factors, blame the situation, this person will not learn from failure. Those who do not learn from its failures are people who fail indeed. The greatest weakness of people who blame everything was that that particular person felt that she or he was right and did not need to act again. When someone starts to make excuses like saying too young, too old, just graduated from junior high school, not talented, I'm a woman, I'm the man, I too, I do not, etc., people like this will not act at all. And if there is no action, there will be no result whatsoever. Self-justification is an attempt to cover up the weakness or lack of motivation to change for the better by justifying the circumstances as something natural or given. Example: it is sure that I cannot work since I do not have a degree. It is not surprising at all that Andy always get the promotion because he was overseas graduates. When looking at other people who are more powerful than themselves, that kind of people will justify without inspired to learn or become stronger. They prefer to use expressions like, of course, it properly. 11. Easy to give up. Many people experienced something like someone digging for gold. They stopped digging the gold digging 30 centimeters before the spade hitting the gold. The power of positive thinking for rich 13.12. Do not manage your life as a business that should be profitable every year. There is no improvement in life. Therefore, life will be useless as nothing is actually produced. If a business in a few years results no profits, the business will be closed. We cannot use the excuse that because the operational cost is large, the revenue can only be used to cover operating costs. Results of operations should be greater than all costs. As well as in life, even just a little, we should make profit every year. 13. Influenced by pessimism and optimism of others. When we are affected by another person, even if that person is included in 5% of people who own 90% of the money circulation, we are in conditions less favorable. It is caused by the unavailability of our own system. Maybe we will win at a time, but we don't know why we win. This will lead to optimism without a strong foundation and will result in the following fatal defeat. 14. Have a good mentor. If we try to try everything in this life on our own, we will spend the time and energy more than if we could learn from people who are already successful in the field that we want. Most of people ask to 95% of people on average, thus the result will be the average. If we want to succeed, we have to ask the best 5% or to 1% of the best, who are above average, and listen to their advice.